You're listening to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show, a podcast that discusses the intricacies of real estate investing with your host, Marcus E. Maloney. Marcus is a real estate investor best known for being the equity king. He's been awarded that moniker because he and his team find amazing real estate deals. He will be talking with investors who have done some transformational things in the real estate industry. They'll discuss their process, their strategies, and how their investments transform their lives and the communities they invest in. We welcome you to the We Love Equity Real Estate Show.
I literally went and knocked on every one of these doors, and I kid you not, I'm pretty sure like everyone that answered the door, like they were like a linebacker for an NFL team because they were all big and pissed. And I'm like, I'm not with the bank. I just want to see if you want to sell your house. And then my knocks got quieter and quieter. And then I just started leaving notes. And lo and behold, someone called on one of those notes.
The We Love Equity Show is brought to you by 𝐓𝐀𝐊𝐄𝐀𝐖𝐀𝐘𝐒, widely recognized as an outstanding resource for real estate investors with exceptional education, networking, and support, along with profit-enhancing benefits in all aspects of real estate investing. Visit 𝐓𝐀𝐊𝐄𝐀𝐖𝐀𝐘𝐒 at www.𝐓𝐀𝐊𝐃𝐄₃.org. That's visit 𝐓𝐀𝐊𝐿𝐿𝐿 at www.azreia.org. Welcome, and hello, my We Love Equity Real Estate family. How are you guys doing today? Today is a very special day. We're going to do something a little bit different on today. I have a very good friend, special guest, Brent Bowers, that is a coach, the land coach for Wholesale Inc. So if you guys know anything about Wholesale Inc., which I'm sure you do, I had Lauren Hardy on the show about maybe a year ago, and Wholesale Inc. does everything with wholesaling. So I just want you guys to sit back, relax, get ready to learn something about land. So Brent is based out of Florida, but he's doing deals here in Arizona. He's doing deals in Colorado and other states, and he's basically doing all raw land. So guess what? If you want to learn about land, this is the right person to listen to. This is the right podcast to listen to, and we are ready to take off right now. So Brent, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. Good to talk to another guy out in Arizona. So we're here.
All right, great. I want to give us a little bit of background about you, man. What did you do prior to real estate?
So prior to real estate, I got in 2007 and I graduated high school in 2004. I actually started going to like Robert Allen Institute seminars in like 2005, like right after I graduated high school. I always wanted to be a real estate rock star, and I thought I needed to get my real estate license to do it. I'm one of those guys. I'm not a good test taker. Went to real estate school in 2005 after I was like mowing grass all day. I had a lawn service that I started in like middle school, and it was doing really well when I got out of high school, but I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I would like mow grass all day long and then drive about 45 minutes to go to real estate school. Well, barely passed that exam. And then it's time to take like the actual college exam. And then it's time to take the state exam, and a hurricane comes through and hits us in Florida. Who'd have thunk it, right? Surprise, surprise. Well, I took a little while before I took the test and went in and just bombed it, failed it, took it again a second time, failed it again. Well, the third time was absolutely the charm. Finally passed that real estate exam April around 2007. And then April 2007, I joined a brokerage and literally bought a rental property that same exact month. So I was in the game. I'm one of those guys. You just tell me what to do. I'm going to pull the trigger and we're going to figure it out later type thing. A lot of failures, couple evictions later, 2008 happens. And I took a break in real estate. I sat on the sidelines from about 2007. I never got rid of that house until about 2013, because I joined the military, got another income source, went back to school. I'm like, man, maybe real estate's not for me, because I saw brokers getting out that had 30 years in the business, and I quit. I just quit in my mind. I was like, if they can't do it, what makes me think I can? So 2013, Army pulls me out of Afghanistan for the second deployment. Said, we're going to make you an officer. They sent me to Florida. I'm going to Florida Tech to school. I bought a house right next to the college and started house hacking. Didn't even know what that was at the time. Before Bigger Pockets made it all cool and fascinating.
Right.
But I was getting paid to live in this house. I'm building equity. And like 2 months later, I did a cash out refi and bought another rental. And I just kept buying rentals and rentals and rentals. And before I realized, I'm like, I'm in debt, man. I'm in debt. So I started wholesaling some houses to pay off the debt and pay for college courses. And that was going okay. And then I stumbled upon land. Okay, here we are.
Before we get into land, let's kind of
Yeah.
go back and dissect a little bit of a few things here. So why did you decide to get your real estate license? Because that is one of the questions that a lot of newbies have. They say, hey, you know what, should I get my real estate license or shouldn't I? What made you take the jump to say, I'm going to go and get my license?
You know, something made me think that I needed a real estate license to actually be a good real estate investor. I didn't want to take people out and show them houses. I didn't want to take people out and rent houses to them or list their house. I wanted to buy I wanted to own the gold mine. I didn't want to sell the gold. So, and I was thinking maybe I'm getting like an advantage, like the cutting edge to see the properties coming across my desk. And it actually happened one time. The first property I bought in 2007, which turned out to be the absolute worst property I ever could have bought. But however, it gave me so much education. So I would say anybody, if they ask me, people ask me all the time, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's not listing houses or showing people houses. Like I say, don't get your real estate license because you almost can't serve two masters. I no longer hold a real estate license. No one on my team has a real estate license. And I buy a property probably 2 or 3 times a week. Okay. You don't have to have a real estate license.
So guys, you hear that? Brent says you don't have to have a real estate license in order to be a successful real estate investor. I second that, but with one caveat. So I do hold my real estate license. I was just like you, Brent, got sucker punched over and over and over again trying to pass that test. It took me 3 times, but lo and behold, I did pass the test. And the reason why I went and got licensed because when I got started, the person that I was working for, he was a broker. And in order to do things legally, as far as wholesaling, it was like, okay, I'm a broker. You're doing things up under me. Let's just go ahead and get your license. And I said, hey, why not? You know what? This is the person that I'm under. I'll do it. So, and then with that being said, and this is not about me, guys, but then I had to go and get my license for Illinois because I'm wholesaling in Illinois, and they instituted the law where you have to have a broker's license in order to wholesale transactions, 0 to 1 transactions. You have to hold a broker's license, anything over 1. So lo and behold, I found myself sitting in the classroom again, taking a test. So, okay, so you're buying. First, let's go back. You did the house hack. What made you think about that? How did that even become a process in your mind, a house hack?
So when I got pulled out of Afghanistan, I had to clear Germany. I had to clear my house in Germany. I had like very short amount of time. I had roughly a couple days to come get started in school. It was quick, fast, in a hurry. I got selected for something called the active duty green to gold. I was selected about 150 soldiers a year. I had to put in for that multiple years. And it was like, it came out of surprise because I didn't think I was selected, actually. I was told, no, you're denied again. I was let down and heartbroken. Like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? So when I was told I got accepted, I had to really hurry, and I didn't have a place to live. And I wasn't going to live on campus. I'm like 27 years old. I'm like the old guy. I didn't want to be on campus. So I found an ad, believe it or not, on Craigslist of a guy renting his house, his room out. He worked for a government contractor. So I was familiar with the government contractor. I'll tell you what it is. It's Harris Corporation. So the guy's like an engineer. I'm renting a room from his house. And I am so thankful for this guy giving me this idea. It was just like a nice house from the outside, had a beautiful pool, but you walk in, like his cat litter box was always full. So I'm like feeding his cat on a daily basis and emptying the litter box. And I'm like getting pissed off. Like, I'm like, why am I paying this guy like $550 a month? I can afford a house myself. I'll do this and I'll make this house way better. And I'll have a place like people actually want to be at. Because I was like just going there to sleep and that's it.
Yep.
I was always like, do I smell like cat poop basically? So I gave him a 2-week notice and I'm out of here. Well, actually, let me back up. I put an offer on a house. And when that was accepted, I gave him my notice. So I'm like, I'm out of here. This is my last month's rent. And I turned into that guy. I found like some reputable renters, like some people that I could, I wouldn't mind living with. I call them renters, but really they were roommates. And I literally made money living there in that house. Plus I was paid my basic allowance for housing from the Army, BAH. So I was pocketing all that money because my mortgage was being paid by my roommates.
Wow. Okay. So the house hack was successful and everything
Yeah.
like that. How did you find the tenants? Just, other soldiers that you knew, or did you place an ad? How did that happen?
Craigslist ad. And
There you go.
I recommend background checks and check them out. You want to know who you're, sleeping, under the same roof with, basically, who's sleeping next to you in the other room. But I met some incredible people. It wasn't a lot, I was only there for 2 years, but we're still friends to this day.
Okay. So now with that property, did you disposition it? Did you sell it? Do you still have it in your portfolio? What's going on with that one?
I actually, we always regret the properties we sell. I did sell that one about 2 years ago, made a fortune on it. But if I had the crystal ball, I would have kept it because the thing was cash flowing like a cow. I actually left it as a room rental. And I was like, well, I started putting things in my mind once again. Well, things are about to start breaking. Oh, this can't keep going good so well as it's like nothing ever broke, no problems. I talked myself into it. And I was like, I want to go ahead and get that payday. I did use that money to buy a bunch of land with, quadruple that money, but still, that was a cash flowing house, building equity, mortgage pay down, tax write-off.
So it worked out for you. But I mean, you talk to most investors, they always say, man, I wish I would have kept some of the houses that I had. And whenever I hear someone say that, one particular property comes to mind, and I still get pricked in my gut every time I think that I sold that property because it was such a great deal. So you did all of that, and you even did some wholesaling. So you even started wholesaling. How did that start, Brent?
Yeah. So the thing about buying a lot of rentals that I was buying rentals that really needed renovation. So I was maxing out the Home Depot card, the American Express, borrowing money. And then I was also paying for these college courses as well. So I kind of ran into, it's like, man, I need some funds. So I'd always heard wholesaling is the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. I'm a Wholesaling Inc. coach. My mentor, Tom Kroll, says the same thing. You don't need any credit or money. So I literally went on PropStream. It's, a service. You could pull records, and it was in Florida. It was actually in Melbourne, Florida. And I went to a little city called Palm Bay because I was going to school in Melbourne. I was like, where's the opportunity? Well, Palm Bay, they're building a lot of houses in Palm Bay, Florida. So I think it's called the Notice of Default List, or Liz Pendants. Basically, they were behind on their mortgage. So I went in and printed out a list and went on, this is really going to date me, but MapQuest.
Wow.
And I was like, I didn't have GPS, but I wanted to make my route. I don't even know if MapQuest exists anymore. This was early 2013.
Okay.
And I made my route, and I literally went and knocked on every one of these doors. And I kid you not, I'm pretty sure everyone that answered the door, they were a linebacker for an NFL team because they were all big and pissed. And I'm like, I'm not with the bank. I just want to see if you want to sell your house. And then my knocks got quieter and quieter. And then I just started leaving notes. And lo and behold, someone called on one of those notes and met the guy.
There it is.
Yeah. Just kept doing it. Met the guy at his house that night. He called, figured out what he owed. It's $150,000. I said, would you take that? He goes, I don't give a darn. I'm about to get kicked out in 6 days. I don't care. That's a motivated seller right there.
Yep.
So I said, sure. We wrote up the purchase agreement. I got it offline. Didn't even know what I was doing. We filled in we figured it out together. We read through it. He signed it. I went home that night, put it on Craigslist. Cash buyer wanted, $160,000, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, yada, yada. Well, a lady that owns a title company calls me, says, I have a buyer looking for houses just like this. And I ended up getting 155, not 160. I had it under contract for 150. I ended up helping the guy move out of the house because it's the day of closing and the stuff's still there. So I'm calling everyone on Craigslist. Trucks are coming, trailers.
Come and get this stuff.
I'm moving a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in my flip-flops. And then I basically gave the seller $600 cash. I think I netted $3,700 when it was all done. But it gave me proof of concept, a new this was alive now. And then someone saw my Craigslist ad and said, hey, I got a house down the street. Can you help me wholesale that one? I said, absolutely. I got a buyer's list. Called that my buyer, my only buyer.
Yep.
Her name's Renee. She owns a title company in Melbourne. And I said, do you think Lou wants this one too? She goes, no, I'll take that one. So that one, we made a $9,000 assignment fee. And I literally got the check and I brought the 4,500, half of it, to the wholesaler that called me. So I did like 2 wholesales on accident in like a couple weeks time.
And isn't that funny how it happens, Brent? It's just simple action that you take. You know, you got out there, you pulled your list, you started knocking on doors, and then lo and behold, out of the blue, somebody calls you and say, yeah, let's do it. You know, and from there, you didn't have a buyer's list, you threw it up on Craigslist and ended up finding a buyer for it. But the key thing that the key takeaway I want people to understand is that you didn't know exactly what you were doing. You and the seller both didn't know what you guys were doing, but you figured it out together, and it was a win-win for both of you guys, and you ended up rolling that into another deal. So guys, just do what Brent did. Just take action. Just take the small little action steps that you learn from me, from Brent, from Wholesale Inc., from all of these other people, and just start taking those little pieces of action, and things will start to happen.
Yeah.
So you got these wholesale deals going. Now, how did you end up in land? You know, how did you do that?
Good question. I really stumbled into it, to be honest with you. And so I took another break from real estate from 2013, because now I'm like hyper focused. Got my classes paid for, actually met the love of my life, my wife now. So, you know, that's probably what it was. I was spending time with her.
There you go.
So 2015, we moved to a couple places. We had to go to Fort Lee, Virginia for a while for my basic officer leadership course, BOLIC. And then we get to Fort Carson, Colorado. It's 2015. And I've got the itch again, the entrepreneurship itch. And we actually are about to have our first baby. And I was starting my wholesaling business out there. Actually hired Tom Kroll with Wholesaling Inc. to coach me. The best coach on the planet. He taught me how to build a systematized real estate business or wholesaling business. And I was doing that, but I was working like 12, 13-hour days for the military. So I was like really like not doing very well with it. I was spending a fortune mailing, and I would do a deal from time to time. And then our first baby comes. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I have got to get out of the military. I did 8.5 years total in the military. I maybe was only home sleeping in my own bed for about 4 of those years. I was always training, always deployed, always gone, always in the field. So I told my wife, I was like, I'm getting out. And I was searching for more answers, even after Tom Kroll showed me how to build this amazing business. And I'm getting deals, wholesaling houses, putting money in the bank, paying off debt. We bought a nice home. I'm like, there's got to be a better way than buying houses, these dirty, nasty, stinky cat-pee house. I'm like, all this competition. And I only have like 30 minutes to go meet a seller during my lunch break. And if I didn't get the contract in that 30 minutes, I wasn't getting it. There was no follow-up. So I heard a guy, I was searching these podcasts, kind of like the We.L.E.R.E show, the Marcus Maloney here, just searching for answers. And I heard a guy just literally buying land. And I'm like, land? You know, I was just completely avoiding mailing land. And I was actually in the middle of mailing a tax delinquent list. And all the land records were right there, people that were behind on paying their taxes. So I mailed out about 687 postcards to the tax delinquent list, to the land guys, to the people that own land. And my phone absolutely exploded, because I was like, if this guy on this podcast can buy it for pennies on the dollar and turn around and quadruple his money in like overnight, I can totally do this. I've already got the systems in place. Well, out of those 85 phone calls I missed from that mailer, I called about 20 of them back, because I didn't really have a lot of time. I was working like crazy, new baby, wife. Out of those 20 people I called back, I did 2 deals, and each one of those deals netted me a little over $4,500 each. And the second deal actually gave me passive income of $400 a month. Well, I was like, this is totally too good to be true. I'm going to see if I can keep doing this. And I kept doing it. And the properties got bigger. That land got bigger. The payments got bigger. And before I knew it, 10 months later, I had literally gotten almost $9,000 a month coming in consistently on payments from land, because I was setting them all up, seller financing. I would literally buy it for like $5,000 and get a down payment for $5,000 and $300 a month. And I just kept rinsing and repeating. And I looked at my wife, I was like, we're financially free. Like our bills are not $9,000 a month. I can get out. I put in my packet and we exploded it. I've got a team now. And then I needed something to do when I got a team. So I started coaching this stuff.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning with this land. So you heard this podcast. You said, all right, this is something that I'm going to try. I'm going to do it. How did you learn the values of the land? Was it just lots? Was it acres? What was it? I'm completely baffled, Brent.
I think I did 5 or 6 land deals before I even knew what the stuff was worth, to be honest with you. Because what I would do, I would see what the county would say it was assessed at. Like the county I was in, it was out in Colorado, really close to the Fort Carson. It was in about a 2-hour radius. I could go to the land if I needed to. I could go meet sellers, buyers. That gave me a lot of confidence. I would be out putting signs out on the weekend to sell the land. So the assessor site would tell me what the assessed value was and what the property value was. And usually the assessed value was half of what the property value was per the assessor site. They were totally wrong, by the way, totally wrong. And I would buy it for half the assessed value. So if the land was worth $30,000, according to the assessor property value, and then they would say assessed at $15,000, I would make sure to buy it at half the assessed, which was $7,500. That way I was getting that margin of safety that Benjamin Graham talks about in his book, The Intelligent Investor. It's laying on my floor, so I had to look at it. And that's what Warren Buffett does. He gets a margin of safety. So I was paying only $7,500 for a piece of land that's worth $30,000. That was my mind. And I would use realtors. I would ask realtors what it's worth. I would go on Zillow and look at like apples comparison, like comparable property. So I really didn't know very well. I didn't have my system in place, but it was working. It was absolutely working. I sold land that was worth $100,000 for like $38,000.
Wow.
But I bought it for $25,000. So it's just getting it low enough. I got it at a discount and sold it for a profit. That's all I was focusing on in the beginning.
Okay. So you didn't quite understand the values. So what's the difference now from what you did then and what you do now as far as assessing the values of the land?
I'm so glad you asked me that because now like me saying that out loud, I really feel like, man, I was quite foolish. But knowing what I know now, people ask me all the time, hey, the assessed value is this. What should I pay for it? I don't care what the assessed value is. That has nothing to do with what the land is worth. The assessed is how the county bases their taxes off it so they can pay their police and their firefighters and their first responders, things like that. So I teach people how to figure out what it's worth by going to Zillow, Redfin, seeing what it's selling for in LandWatch. And you got to do apples to apples comparison. What does that mean? Well, if we're looking at 1 acre lot, we're only looking at 1 acre lots that have sold in the last 90 to 180 days in that area within like a couple mile radius.
So you're just like running comps, just like you would on a single family residence.
You got it. That's absolutely right. And just keeping it close. And, if it's a buildable lot, like an infill lot, say something that's close to water and power or there's a house next door to it, then you got to do a comparison, apple to apple comparison on other lots in that area, say 5,000 square feet or 8,500 square foot. You can't compare that to 5 acres because it's not the same thing. So it's just looking at what the stuff's selling for, looking at a couple places, being fine with spending 5 or 10 minutes, and you get faster and faster at this. I love to call land specialist realtors as well. Like, how do you find a land specialist realtor? They're like few and far between, They're like unicorns. Well, you go on Redfin or Zillow and see who's selling all this land. So look at the solds on land and see who listed it and who brought the buyer. And you just make a list. All right, Mark and Mary Jones, Jim Smith. And then the person that comes up the most, call that person and be like, hey, I'm looking at this piece of land. It's 2 acres out in Apache County, Arizona. I have no clue what the stuff's worth. I wanted to know what your 30-day blowout price would be. Like, what could you sell this for like right now, the get it done now price?
Right.
On the MLS. And that's what I base it off of. Like, I don't want the maybe 1 day sales price. Like when I see land is set on the market for 289 days on Zillow or whatever, like they're obviously asking too much and they're not offering seller financing.
Yep. Very true. Very true. So that, and kind of, it mirrors kind of what I did in the beginning when I was going into a new market, trying to find, okay, how can I move deals? And I would go on Redfin and I would look at all of the realtors that sold properties in that area. And then I would just pick up the phone and I would call them. Hey, you know what? I don't understand the value of this property. Help me out. And if you help me out and I get it, I may have you to list it for me. And I just started finding these realtors, the same realtors just kept popping up. And those were the realtors that was working with investors. So we would just run our deals through them. And then they just started helping us build a buyer's list. So sound like something similar that you did, Brent.
Success leaves clues. Like, I'm not going to call the agent I've never heard of, or, hey, my brother-in-law is friends with a realtor. Heck no, don't call that person. Or my Aunt Sally is a realtor. I'm sorry, Aunt Sally, you're not going to list my property. Like, there's a reason.
Absolutely.
I've got some family members that are realtors, and they're like, why don't you ever give me a chance? No, I want to go with the winner.
Yeah, because we got to move these things fast. We got to move them fast. So tell me, Brent, sounds like you had a ton of success, man. What were some of those failures that you faced, and how did you get over them? Because I know you started, stopped. What were some of the reasons why you stopped, and how did you get over that? Because the mindset is very challenging to get over. Like you said earlier, you said, well, all of these brokers that have been in the business for 30 years was stopping. What makes me think that I can continue having success if they stopped?
So, man, great question. We'll get real and raw here. So when I got my real estate license, that's how I met my first wife. My first wife's mom was my real estate broker. So I met my broker and then met my first wife, and she was not about real estate. She didn't want to have anything to do with it. Like, she watched her mom's up and downs and struggles and all these properties she bought. Like, they would be broke and sometimes they'd be wealthy, and like, she didn't want to have anything to do with that. She didn't want to be married to that. So I ended up joining the military, hence the break, and from real estate. And my second deployment, like, I was gone all the time. So me and my first wife, kind of split ways on that second deployment, and that hurt. So that's one of the major failures of my life. And then I got back into real estate in 2013. I would say that, I failed a lot of times. I've made a lot of mistakes buying properties. There's always a secret with every house. Like, we bought a commercial building, office building, and ended up putting 2 roofs on it. Like, that was a $40,000 failure. The first roof leaked, and the contractor ran off with my money.
Oh, wow.
So I had to put a second one on. So I renovate this entire building. We bought a commercial building for $160,000, and we ended up putting almost $200,000 into it. And then it sat vacant for the last year and a half. Couldn't find a renter for it. So another mistake. We just rented it out literally yesterday. Like, I'm on cloud 9. Like, I'm finally getting income from this property. My mortgage has been
I got to give you some kudos for that, man. If you've been holding that property that long and you just got a tenant, man, congratulations on that. We don't want to overlook that success, Brent.
Yeah, thank you. And this was Colorado Springs, and there's massive explosion going on. Yeah. It's in an enterprise zone. U-Haul bought across the street. They're building all these storage units, and then there's 240 apartments going across the street. And I'm like, why is my immaculate building sitting vacant? And we finally got a renter, but luckily I had so much cash flow coming in from land, like, it was paying for that building. It paid for that building, and my mortgage is like $1,500 a month. Now, granted, I didn't get all my cash flow because I did kind of the BRRRR method. I bought. Okay. I renovated, and I tried to rent it. But the thing with a commercial building, if you don't have a tenant, they don't really value it as much. So I basically sunk almost $160,000 of my own cash into that building. But luckily, I had other good investments happening. So you can't focus on the negatives. You can't focus on the challenges. Okay, yeah, I was losing money on a couple real estate properties, but I was making money on hundreds over here. And I feel like some people go down that route and they just dwell on it. I mean, you got to look at the positive things. My team had a great place to go and use as an office, even though we're all virtual. But, if a seller wanted to meet us, a buyer wanted to meet us, we weren't going to Starbucks. Saying, hey, come to our office.
Right.
And the last failure I want to tell you about was that first rental property. That was hard. Like, I would save up my money on the first deployment, my first 364-day deployment. And I get back from Afghanistan. I got a house I got to go renovate. I wanted to go travel. Like I wanted to take a little time off, but I had to go and clean the cockroaches out of a house and scrape poop off my walls because this woman trashed it. So it's like embrace the failures, embrace the struggles, because you're only guaranteed challenges in life, I think.
There you go. And I think that, you have to get through some of those failures in order to hit those successes. And those failures actually make those successes feel 10 times greater, 10 times better, because you can look back and say, wow, I went through all of this and now I finally made it to this point, and now I'm having a level of success. So that's great. So Brent, let's take a brief break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, I want to talk about a few things about, you structuring some of those creative finance deals and your team and what you guys are doing going forward. So let's take a brief break, hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
PropStream is the industry's #1 tool for locating distressed properties and connecting with highly motivated sellers. With 100% coverage across the U.S., PropStream provides a deep dive into any property's specific details, making it easy to generate lists of distressed properties and contact to the owners. No other product or service can compare. Gain access to MLS property details like expired listings. You can pull accurate comps, even sale prices in non-disclosure states. This information is typically reserved for licensed real estate professionals, but it is also available to you in PropStream. Gain access to unlimited nationwide property search, comparable home sales, targeted marketing lists, and owner contact lookup, built-in marketing tools, hundreds of filters to search and sort leads. Start your free 7-day trial now by going to proud.propstreampro.com/WeLoveEquity.
Okay, guys, we are back with Brent Bowers, who is the land guy with Wholesaling Inc. I'm sorry, Brent, what's your official slogan or?
Yeah, I am a coach. I'm the land coach with Wholesaling Inc. I'm super proud of that. Like the best. I mean, we're student first. There's a lot of great coaching programs out there, but I just love being part of the Wholesaling Inc. crew because we are student first mentality. If it's not the best choice for the student, we don't make that choice. But yeah, the program is called the Land Sharks. The Land Sharks.
So the Land Sharks. So Brent is one of, or the shark with Wholesale Inc. in their land division. So Brent, before we left, we were talking about your deals and how you were doing some things creative. So you said that you had bought this commercial property and your other land deals was actually funding that deal. How did you set up these creative structures with some of the land in order to pay for this commercial building?
So the way I love to buy land is I like to buy it at a massive discount. I really like the stuff like on the outskirts of the city where it's growing, because you can go out just a little further and get crazy deals. You can get a little bit more acreage. And what's cool about this is when you buy it at a massive discount, you can turn around and sell it for retail and premium prices if you make it affordable for someone else. And how do I make it affordable? It's through seller financing, just getting a little creative. How can Ford or Chevy or Dodge sell these trucks for $70,000, $80,000? It's because they allow people to come in and make payments. And I do the same thing with my land. I don't do credit checks. I don't do background checks or employment. If they can make the down payment, which is always larger than our monthly payment, if they can make a down payment and afford a monthly payment of $200, $300, $400, $500 a month, I now make it so affordable and so easy for them to buy a piece of land of their dreams, to one day build that cabin or have a place they can go camping or hunting or four-wheeling or you name it, park their RV, whatever they want to do, just to own a piece of America. We offer that for $200, $300, $400, sometimes $600 a month. And wow. I've got 114 of them paying me right now.
So where are you finding your lease option people, your end buyers on these properties?
Yeah, and they are actually, we set it up as a contract for deed, or some places call it a land contract, to where they are signing a contract. Say, for instance, they're buying this piece of land for $15,000. They're going to pay me $300 a month at 9% interest for 60 months. So I'm finding these people on places like Craigslist. You start to notice I really like Craigslist.
Yeah.
I have a website. We've built some good Google ranking. We've been doing this for many years now. I put it on, the land websites like land.com, Land Century, Land Hub. I try and be everywhere. If someone wakes up And Marcus, you wake up today, be like, I want 2 acres in Arizona today. I want you to see me. Like if you go to Apache, Arizona on Land Watch, you're going to see my face everywhere because I'm the land specialist out there. So I want to come up. I put out signs. We put signs out. Like we have all kinds of signs. Where else? Facebook, buy, sell groups. And we try and drive them all to our website, which is, getland.org or vacantlandofthefree.com. And once they go in there, they fill out their name and their phone and their email, or I think it's just their phone and their email. And then they see letters from us, newsletters, and they see they see Facebook retargeting ads from us. And we stay in front of them because most people don't just wake up today and say, I'm going to buy land. No, it'll be a year from now. So, and we build a list. We built a list of land buyers.
Okay. So once you build that list and you're moving these deals, I know it's not just you, Brent. What does your team look like, and how did you find these people to work with you?
Yeah, so my team right now consists of I work with 2 ladies. They're amazing. They both buy all the land and the houses, and sometimes a 19-unit apartment complex, sometimes a commercial building. We'll pretty much buy anything now at this point. And so my team, had those 2 amazing ladies. They're the sweethearts. They're the best listeners. Like they do well at their job. I used to be the one buying this stuff, and I'm not that good at it. I like to just talk. They listen better.
Yeah.
So if you didn't hear me say that, I said, listen. Like that's a good salesperson. They listen really well. And then I had my land specialist, which she actually just left us. She's getting surgery. So Right now we don't even have a land sales specialist. So guess what? We're utilizing real estate agents that are land specialists. I also have 2 virtual assistants in the Philippines, a husband and wife team. She basically does all of our ads on Craigslist, or actually, let me back up. She does all of our ads on our website and all the land sites. We've now farmed out our Craigslist ads to specialists, because my stuff was getting flagged and ghosted. And I was like, I don't understand Craigslist anymore. But she requests the photos. She does all the due diligence on the land. She's just amazing with Photoshop and just does a great job. And she tracks our key performance indicators, how much we spend, what kind of response we get, what kind of conversion we get. That way we can look and be like, oh, nope, Craigslist doesn't work anymore type thing.
So let me ask you this, Brent, because I recently went through this, and I know that this is something that a lot of people go through, especially when they're going from that infancy stage where it's just that solopreneur to now it's like, okay, I'm gaining some traction. I got some consistent deal flow. I need to hire somebody, and I need to start putting a team in place. When did you get to that point where you said, all right, I know I can't do this by myself. I need help?
Yeah, I kind of had an advantage that most people didn't, and that was no time whatsoever. You usually hear about the people that have the money but no time, or
no money,
no
plenty of time, right?
Or plenty of time
and
no money. I had no money, no time when I was starting this out in 2015. When I talked about how I would rush off base to go meet a seller, I didn't have time to answer my phone. So I was mailing. Some months I'd spend like $3,000-$4,000 in postcards, not even be able to take the phone call. So I had to put someone in my team right away, or I didn't have a business. I would go to the field and my business would be turned off, basically going bankrupt. So I brought someone in very early. April 2016 was the date. Her name is Jen, and she's still with me today. She runs the company, absolute rock star. So I had to hire quick. I was forced to. I didn't know how to, and I wasn't doing a lot of business. So I'm like, well, who's going to want to come with me? So what I did, I found someone. I told her exactly what I was doing. Here's my past. Here's my vision. I literally had her come to my house. She sat there with me, my wife, and I think, she was, no, we just had the baby, like a newborn. And basically, she's like, I remember her saying this, I was so creeped out going to your house. But when I walked in, I knew this was the place for me type thing.
Perfect.
So I just showed her, I was like, here, I laid it all out on the line. It's like, do you want to come with me? We're going. So, and we built it.
And that's great, because a lot of people, they think, because I was the same way, and I'm guilty, and I raised my hand. I'm guilty because it was like, well, I'm not doing a massive amount of deals. Who's going to come and want to work for me and everything like that. And that left me stuck for a long time, Brent, to be honest, because I was like, well, I'm not doing a lot of deals. I'll just do everything myself. And I was just doing that. I was doing everything myself. And then I came to the realization, I was like, you know what? I got to get out of this. I got to, burn the boats and jump out there, hire somebody to help me really do things. And then once I started doing that, we started seeing just an influx of deals and deals and deals. And right now, we're still formulating the team and moving pieces around on the chessboard because, hey, you know what? Sometimes things have to change and things pivot, and you got to make sure your people are ready to do that with you. So, man, that's an excellent story because, like I said, a lot of people, they don't know when it's that time to bring somebody on.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. And yeah, and we've just continuously brought more and more and more people on, and we kind of grew a little bit more. Like we were up to 9 people, and we kind of scaled back a little bit too, because we realized we were like, now it's like indigestion. Like we've actually hired too much. We're spending too much. We had to scale back a little bit though too. But I just want to brag on Jen a little bit. When I found her, she was renting a house. Now she's actually about to list a multifamily property that she's got. It's 2 units. She's listing it today. That property, when it sells, if it sells for the most conservative price, she's going to take all that profit and pay off her primary residence.
Wow.
So she's about to have a house that's paid for. So like you can do like anything with this business if you're smart with it. So, and like, that's my whole motto with the Land Sharks. Like, I want to teach people how to build a business that serves them, their family, and others. I've been able to serve others now through other people.
There you go. And that's what it's all about. So Brent, kind of wrapping up here, but I wanted to get this in, and I wanted to ask you, so what your primary marketing strategy? Is it, because I know you spoke about postcards and direct mail, is that your primary marketing strategy?
Yeah, I love sending something called a LOL, the land offer letter. Every time we get it back, we laugh out loud because we just got a piece of land under contract at less than 50 cents on the dollar. But I love mail because it can be automated, delegated. This stuff happens every week without me, guys. Like, it's not like text messaging or cold calling where it's extremely like on the offense and it works really well. But like, that takes management. I don't want to manage. I want a passive business.
Okay. All right. So you hear from Brent, guys, direct mail. How many people do you hear out there saying, oh, direct mail is dead. Direct mail is dead. Direct mail is dead. You got to be doing some of these other creative things. You do not understand how many people that I talk to and they say, yeah, we're doing cold calling, we're doing this and we're doing that, but our foundation is direct mail still. So if you got the money, you got the resources, you got the time, guys, still get those letters out, still get those postcards out and everything like that. So Brent, let's kind of wrap up here. We're going to put you on the hot seat, sir. We are going to put Brent on the hot seat. All right, Brent. There we go. Got your bill. Got your bill. Starting over, what would you do differently?
Oh man, I would have first. Can I give you 2 things? 1, hire a coach sooner. 2, listen to that coach and track my KPIs sooner, my key performance indicators. How much I send, how much I spend, how much I make. That's all you have to do is track those 3 things, because then I know what's working. I know where to put the money and I know where to take the money back from because we're losing money. And I just hired a CFO to help me with that as well.
Okay, perfect. What is one characteristic you believe every high producing achiever needs to have?
I just say energy. Get energy. Eat healthy. Eat more green vegetables. Exercise more. Drink more water. If you can give yourself more energy, you will be more successful, because it takes a lot of energy to get on just this podcast.
There you go. Yes. Okay, and then what is one thing that helps you stay motivated that you can share with the listener?
My team, I focused for a while, like, how do we build up Jen's income? Now, how do we build up Chrissy's income? How do we get Ian and Migs making more money, and Helen? If you can focus on your team's income, you're going to be blessed, absolutely blessed. And you're going to grow and explode and be blessed and prosper.
Okay. Sounds great. So before we wrap up, man, I want you to give us a little insight on the Land Sharks, kind of, for somebody that's interested in land and they're like, you know what, this sounds like it might be where I want to go. How can we reach you? How can we find you? And give us a little input on the Land Sharks. What do you guys do?
Yeah, no, I talked about Wholesaling Inc. You can go to wholesalinginc.com/land. I actually just launched a YouTube channel about 5 months ago. If you go on YouTube, you can search Brent Bowers. Please subscribe to my channel. Help me explode this thing. But I'm giving like my business everything. Like I do 5 videos a week. Every single day I'm coming out with a video and talking about my business, my land business, my wholesaling business. And if you're interested, in setting up a call by going to wholesalinginc.com/land, schedule a call with my team. We'll see what your real estate goals are, see what you're looking to build in this. And I'd be honored to coach you. And basically it's not just coaching, it's also modules. We have support to where your questions get answered and like we can walk you through deals. So I'm just so proud of it. And that's what it's all about, getting people success.
All right, guys, you know what to do. Go out there, find Brent Bowers, go to his YouTube page, go to his Facebook, Instagram, go to wholesaleinc.com, get everything you need as far as land. So Brent, I want to thank you, sir. It takes energy in order to, put this content out. A lot of people think, hey, it's easy, just grab your phone and do this, do that. But it does take a lot of energy and planning. And I want to thank you for being on and speaking with the listeners on today. So, end party, give us one last word of encouragement for our listeners.
Word of encouragement. You know what? The first thing I think of is read the book called Rhinoceros Success by Scott Alexander. You can read it in like 2 hours. That's all the encouragement you'll ever need. Heck, I'll give you even better. Listen to it on Audible because it's even better on Audible, I think.
Okay, so that's Rhinoceros Success. Who is it by?
By Scott Alexander. That's why I'm standing in front of a huge rhinoceros with 3-inch thick skin. Like that's where it came from. That's why we're in the Rhino tribe, Wholesaling Inc. So read that book. It's they should, like, if you want motivation, that'll give it to you.
Okay. All right, guys, you know what to do. You got the information. Let's get out there. Let's take action. The We Love Equity listeners always go out and they perform. So I'm waiting to hear you and see you perform. So you know what to do. Reach out to me. Go to marcusemmalloney.com or find me at MRCS Maloney on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. You know where to find me. So guys, thank you so much. Again, Brent, thank you so much for being here. And guys, we are signing off. All right, guys, that was Brent Bauer. Go to wholesaleinc.com. Find out more information about land. I wanted to bring a little something different, outside of just traditional wholesaling, but he's actually wholesaling land. So I always tell you there's different strategies out there. If one don't work, sometimes you may need to try another one until you find that perfect niche that's for you. But believe me, success is out there. You just got to find it. Go out there. I'm trying to leave these clues for you so you'll understand that just because you failed in one area, you can also succeed in another area. So I want you guys to take the time, go out, find your special expertise in what area of real estate investing it is. And then feel free to let me know, hey, what's working for you, what's not working for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You know where to go, MRCS Maloney at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then go to marcusemmalloney.com. That's marcusemmalloney.com. We got to still offer the 15-minute free consultation for you. We're not doing them as much because we're doing some other things, going to be rolling out some other things, but we still have it up. So take advantage of that 15-minute free consultation. You will speak directly with me, not anyone else. You'll speak directly with me. So thank you so much again. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your day, and we look forward to hearing and seeing you in the future. All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening to today's show. I picked up some great actionable items, and I'm sure you did as well. If so, let me know. You can always reach me via social media at facebook.com/MRCS Maloney, Twitter at MRCS Maloney, and of course, IG at MRCS Maloney. You can also always reach me via email at mmaloney@equityri.com. Make sure you reach out to our guests as well. You can always find their contact information in the show notes below. If you have not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Join the family. And while you're at it, leave us a 5-star review. This is how we tell if we're providing you with what you need for your journey. If there's someone you would like for me to interview, or if there's a subject matter you would like for me to cover, please let me know. Finally, if you're looking for additional information about real estate investing, go to equityrealestateblog.com. Also, youtube.com/Marcus Maloney. Until next time, family, always enjoy the journey.